Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. And as you can see, we are going to be back once again with Katawa Shoujo. So, when we last left off, we had started Act 2 for Rin. We had our first day at the art club, which was interesting to say the least. Rin complimented our first attempt at art, which was doing a portrait of her. Even though we don't think we're that good, she still complimented our effort. Meanwhile, her picked drawing of us was actually really damn good. But it made us look a little down in the dumps, grim, not exactly, happy. Rin even kind of said, "You don't smile." So now we're a little self-conscious of that, thinking, wait, have I really not smiled, at all since I've come to this school? Which, since we went down specifically her route, I believe that's the case, more or less. At the very least, we haven't been smiling, genuinely smiling, around Rin. After that, it was the track meet, where we saw Emmy do her thing. And we just kind of talked with Rin more. Most of what Rin says has been kind of going over my head, because oh my god. That girl can think. Even when she's not thinking, she can think. I mean, so far, I am enjoying this more than I thought I would. So, let us load up our save and continue on from where we left off in Act 2. Today's art club meeting is currently on hold, while everyone waits for Nomiya to show up. I take this time to try and explain my theory about Yamaku to Rin. Tried to figure out what exactly about the school feels so special to me. That concept I unsuccessfully tried to explain to Yuko the other day. Did I skip another? Nope. Okay. Just weird. The way the text jumped, it felt like I skipped a line somewhere. But nope. It's still difficult, but the track meet and the time I've spent observing my fellow students have helped my ideas mature a little. Have you noticed that people talk all the time? I can't really explain it, but once again, as I try to explain my observation, I'm struggling for words. Student body is heavily clicked. Yeah, click. Click. Why did I say click? Jesus. Let's try again. Student body is heavily clicked, and I'm only now beginning to make sense of the intricate grouping and popularity networks. And yet, the feeling of being a part of a group is stronger here than I remember it being in my old schools. I'm trying to say that this school isn't like other schools. Or at least, the students aren't, even after discounting the obvious. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what you mean. Oh, well, whatever then. I want to pursue the issue, but at that point, Nomiya arrives. Teacher is wiping sweat from his forehead with a handkerchief and breathing rather heavily. He quickly glances over the room, then settles down a bit. Hello, hello. Apologies for being late. Is everyone present? Good. I must confess, I haven't really planned anything for today, as I've been extremely busy lately. But I'm sure we can come up with something entertaining. Anyone have any suggestions? I was thinking we could have a discussion circle, since we haven't had one in a while. I at least found the last one magnificently enjoyable. His voice is gonna be all over the place like every other voice I do, so apologies. There's some murmurs here and there, but nobody raises their voice in support of or against Nomiya. We could delve into various movements of art. Or does someone have a good topic in mind? Blah, 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 word. I'm not gonna get it. I know what I'm trying to do, and I'm failing at it with them. That's just me, though. Come on, throw it out there. Doesn't matter if it's silly or odd, we could always cook up something interesting. Nobody seems to be brave enough to make a suggestion. As the awkward silence refuses to be broken, I lift my hand in the air. Oh, our newest friend seems to have something on his mind. Speak up, my boy, speak up! Well, I don't know about anybody else, but I've always wondered why art exists in the first place. My voice trails off. A silence sets in the room, and nobody makes a follow-up on my meek suggestion. I mean, why does anything exist? Then the teacher bursts in laughter. Excellent! Very good indeed. Right out of the gate with a big one, huh? Fabulous! Chuckling, he shifts some papers around on his desk for a few moments. When he's done, he appears to have made some sort of decision. Very well then. Let us run with this and see where it gets us, shall we? Oh my, even an old fogey like me gets excited with such delicious enthusiasm is present. Oh my, indeed. Oh, Nomiya. You are a character. Also, what the fuck are you doing? You're doing the tonguey face in real life. Dude. Who does that? Ooh. Oh my fucking god. What even is this? What even? Let me gather my thoughts for a moment so I can figure out a good starting point for everyone. For some reason, the teacher seems to be almost literally bursting with excitement. He scribbles a few things down on a loose sheet of paper, then cleans his glasses with a handkerchief. He strikes a pose, and then freezes for an overtly dramatic, artistic pause that spans what must be half a minute. It's so quiet I could hear a pin drop. First, let's come up with a few questions that we want answered, such as, what is art, and why does art exist? Anyone have any questions that might be related? The boy with sunglasses pipes up almost immediately. His voice is soft and quiet, and I have a hard time making out what he says. What defines an artist? After him, another question comes up. If I filled a cardboard box with water and call it art, is it art? Everyone laughs at that, even the teacher. Great! Wonderful! All of these! Let me start by saying this is not a clear-cut issue by any means, and as such, I'm not going to give any answers to you. I'm only going to speak from my own perspective. Scholars have argued about these sorts of questions since time immemorial, and there's never really been a broadly applicable consensus reached. There are, however, some qualities that most tend to generally agree upon. Hopefully, you all should find these acceptable as well. In short, art defines itself. It simply cannot be contained to a definition from the outside, since the boundaries of art expand and contract from forces within. Every day, someone somewhere comes up with something completely outrageous that challenges any and all preconceptions. The core reason for this is that rather than the rational side of the mind, art applies to the intuition, the instinct, the primal. You'd find it very hard to explain why exactly it is you enjoy some particular style of piece. No? I don't know what happened there, but I kind of got into it. He doesn't wait for a response before continuing. This is exactly why. So, art is this sort of wild, uncontrollable thing that lurks somewhere deep in our subconscious. Now, why does it exist? Nomiya apparently expects someone to pipe up with a guess, but as nobody dares to interrupt his inspired speech, he continues. It was a trick question. You see, art also validates itself. Generally speaking, you might say that art exists for no other purpose than itself. It's something that exists merely to leave a mark in history. It's the defiance of the mortal against the face of darkness, as was once said. Art is truly the proof of our existence. You all should know that human culture and civilization are tied to the existence of art. Tightly tied, sorry. I mean, kinda not false. He's got a point. In a way, yeah. We know humanity exists because of cave drawings that far back, thousands upon thousands of years. Then what about the artists? What drives a man to dedicate his life to a thing so fickle and mysterious that it even defies definition? There are as many answers for this as there are artists. But if I had to put it into words, an artist doesn't make art because he can, but because he must. Nomiya takes a pause and his gaze sweeps over his audience, eyes flaring with passion. It is obvious that art touches the very soul of each and every human being in one way or another. So, if you were given a chance to connect with your fellow man in such a fundamental way, how could you not? There's a poem I'm very much fond of, and I shall recite the most well-known part of it to you now. I feel that, for me personally, of all things it captures best the essence of what it means to be an artist. Nomiya leans against the desk as he clears his throat in preparation. Looking at some distant place, he mutters the words in the heavy afternoon air with his soft basso voice. To see a world in the grain of sand, and a heaven in the wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour. There's a solemn and unbelievably awkward silence after he finishes reciting the short fragment. Nobody dares speak a word. Nomiya clears his throat again. To be an artist is to see the world in a grain of sand. You see, dear children, without art, there would not be much to live for in this world. It is a most profound thing. He's clearly touched by this notion. I almost expect to see a lone tear rolling down his rough cheek, but it never comes. I turn to Rin and whisper to her. So, how is this a discussion circle? She shrugs nonchalantly back at me. The previous ones were the same. To his credit, Nomiya does try to get some debate going, but the club seems to be reluctant to comply. I feel a bit guilty about opening my mouth. Maybe we would have been spared from this. As the meeting comes to a close, I realize we haven't once touched any paint or pens today, and I feel somewhat disappointed. Nomiya suddenly appears next to us. He seems to still be fired up from the speech he delivered. His cologne smells musky and saturine at the same time, giving me an instant headache, even though I'm not sensitive to perfumes. He's looking at Rin like a hungry wolf. I'm sorry, what? Oh, great! Apparently I'm going to be having another character at some point. Fucking wonderful. Again, let me know if the game music is drowning me out and I can set it back. Or if I'm too loud. I just need this info so I know where to set things for certain games. Tezuka, do you remember Miss Seonji who visited us at the festival? I think so. I'm going to tell you something amazing. The thing is, she's a very well-known gallerist around here. It turns out I might be able to get her to consider having some of your work put up on display. He ends his sentence with a dramatic gesture. It seems he's expecting Rin to show some sort of joyous, shocked reaction at such grand news, but she just stares at him blankly. Magnificent, isn't it? This could be a real chance for us to get ahead, girl. But... Now, I know what you're about to say. Yes, it wouldn't be a simple affair, but I think this is an absolutely fantastic opportunity. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we even made it big. This could be the first step. And then, when the word is out, we strike while the iron is hot. Right, Nakai? Yeah, it does sound pretty great, if you're into that kind of thing. See? We should definitely not let this one pass, am I right? I don't really know, Clearly Rin's not liking this. Like, very, very clearly, she's not liking this. Rin seems to be troubled for some reason. I can't figure out why. What Nomiya is saying does indeed sound like a possibly great thing. She looks pretty down though, and confused. I've never seen her like this. So, what do you think? Rin looks up to her teacher's glowing face, and then back down at her desk. I'll think about it. Nomiya is at least taken slightly aback by Rin's lack of superlative delight. Then he smiles widely at her and gently pats her head. Good girl. Okay, I don't like Nomiya anymore. I'm getting some bad vibes from him. No. Club meeting is finally over, and as I lazily collect my things and help clean up, I start feeling exhausted for some reason. There isn't much to do, however, so it's over quickly. I catch up to Rin, who left the club room just a moment earlier, so we're walking down the stairs to the ground floor while I try to go over Nomiya's passionate speech about art, and Rin seems to be lost in thought. Not an unusual state for her, I've learned, but something about her expression makes me feel uneasy. Penny for your thoughts? That'd be too cheap. You're just overpricing your thoughts. I wouldn't be able to sell them anyway. I'm not sure what I'm thinking yet.
Hello there.
Hi, Nichols. How's it going? It's always a good day to wake up to Obi-Wan saying hello there. I, glad the sound alerts are being used. I just want to make sure they're being used. That's why I added them. And well, you've been using them. Just to kind of catch you up on what's going on right now, we just finished an art club meeting after the teacher kind of go into a really passionate speech about what is art and why it exists. As we're getting ready to pack up, he goes over to Rin and says a friend of his has a gallery and they might be able to get some of her paintings put in the gallery. And Rin isn't exactly fond of the idea, but she's not outright saying that. She's just kind of like saying, I don't know, I'll think about it, kind of thing, looking very not enthused. Meanwhile, her teacher's like, this could be good for us. It'll be great. And when she says she'll think about it, he just pats her on the head and says, good girl. I don't like Nomiya now. Too many creeper vibes. I wouldn't be able to sell them anyway. I'm not sure what I'm thinking yet. That'd be fraud too, like stealing a candy from a baby. That's theft, not fraud. I have to think about what I think. Is this about what the teacher said? Getting your work put up on display and all that? She doesn't answer, but stops in her tracks as we reach the lobby. We're the only people around, so it's very quiet. Footsteps echo from a few floors up as someone hurries along a hallway. I think I'm gonna go somewhere elsewhere. I think she really is troubled. Want company? I can't promise much help with the thinking, but it's not like I have much else to do. And I'm supposed to do some light exercise. If you like. Rin leads me outside to the wall behind the dormitories. There's a small black gate there, made from the same wrought iron as the main gate. It leads to to the shadowy woodland park behind the school. There's a park behind the school? Why has this never been brought up before? Four other routes. This is the first time hearing about a park behind the school. Meanwhile, Emmy's route, we go on a goddamn picnic. We go into town to a park, and then get rained out. Why didn't we go to this one? Ugh. Then again, knowing Rin, she wasn't gonna say jack shit. Probably because, well, you never asked. The gate is rusty, as if it hasn't seen much use. However, it sits open, so we pass through. It's not forbidden for students to leave the grounds, but somehow I feel a little uneasy. A path leads deeper into the forest. Tall zelkova and maple trees rustle in the wind. their canopies creating patches of chill air hanging in the places where the shadows fall. The forest smells strongly of earth. I almost feel cold, even though the midsummer day is as hot as ever. Rin trudges ahead like a sleepwalker, sure-footed, but with no apparent destination in mind. Her thoughts seem to be somewhere else. I follow a few steps behind, taking more care to watch where my feet land. The path follows the land uphill at a low angle, sometimes making little detours downhill before climbing back upward. The muted brown and gray trunks line the path on both sides, peppered with ferns, and other undergrowth. After a little while, I start getting worried. The path is still wide and clear, so there's no chance of getting lost, but it doesn't look like we have any particular destination. There's nothing wrong with a bit of aimless wandering around, but I don't want to go so far that I'd get too tired to walk back. I'm starting to get a little winded, and my legs feel heavy. I want to stop and get a chance to catch my breath and rest my legs, but Rin keeps on going. Where are we going? Or are we going anywhere at all? Worry tree. I see. Rin has a worry tree. Okay. So what exactly is the worry tree? It's just a tree. Like this. She stops in front of a particularly large maple that might or might not be the worry tree. Its lush green leaves sway lightly in the breeze blowing through the small clearing we entered. I guessed as much. There are people who believe that you must come here to wallow in misery, if you're miserable. Only by people, I mean me. And the tree isn't really called anything. So, if you're miserable, you talk to a tree about it? No. What? You can't talk to trees. What do you think I am? Crazy? No, I didn't mean it like that. Or maybe you talk to trees? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that you were crazy. Even though you probably are if you talk to trees. Well, we talked to Kenji. I wouldn't call him a tree, but, I mean, we're crazy by association. I wouldn't recommend it in either case. People think you're a weird person. No, just forget it. She looks mildly confused, which I don't blame her at all. She tilts her head a little to the side, expression melting back to her usual one. Alright. I'm good at forgetting things. So why are we here? Are you miserable then? I can't read the expression she makes. I hate how bad I am at interpreting Rin's mood. She doesn't answer right away, as if she herself isn't quite certain of her own mood. The blank stare changes into a more difficult expression as she shuffles her weight around. Finally, coming to a conclusion, Rin shrugs her shoulders. I've grown to seriously dislike that gesture. It doesn't mean anything. Maybe. I just feel kind of like I'm sinking underwater. I don't know what I should do. I don't know where I should go, that's all. Maybe it's not a big deal, but I thought walking might help. Kind of like, if I go somewhere, I would know where I should go. I don't really know if I did. Or it did. It really would have made sense if walking had helped decide where to go. So you don't want to try to get an exhibition? Or rather, you don't know if you do? Can't decide? Rin doesn't say anything for a while, arranging her thoughts in silence. Quiet is broken by birdsong from somewhere in the treetops, followed by rustling leaves as the bird takes flight. Maybe. I'm not sure if I can have a thing like that. So far, I've only painted for myself. Hey, Jen. Wow, that's like I think it's the first time the backseat command has ever been used. Uh, What the hell happened to that? Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that at some point. Huh, I must have deleted the wrong thing when I tried to cut it down. Okay. So I have no idea what the hell that means. Are you just having fun testing out all the commands I have listed below? Is that what's happening right now? Oh my god, of course that quote shows up. The best quote. How's your day going, Jen? Going good? Glad to hear. Glad to hear. It's gone alright. I stayed up a little too late last night, so I'm a little more tired than usual. Oh, little one's sleeping fine. She's slowly starting to get used to her crib at night, apparently, which is nice. It is real good there. She's slowly starting to sleep throughout the night fully. Right now, they're all at Costco. Learned Costco is not the place to get patio furniture. Why is that? Is it just bad quality furniture? Oh. Oh. Ew. Yeah. Huh. Holy shit. Cheapest set 2K. Oh my god. That's just ridiculous. Why does just a chairs and table cost that goddamn much? Really shouldn't. Yeah, that's just plain ridiculous. Yep, maybe try looking at some like what the hell is it, like restores or something for patio furniture. find something on the cheap. May have a scuff or two or something, but yeah, it'll probably be fine. Definitely save money that way. Anyway, back to game. It's all good. It's all good. Like seeing what's up with my friends. And I mean, now I know I gotta work on my fix the follow H command. So Rin doesn't really know what to think about the idea of her paintings potentially being put in a gallery. From the sound and look of her, she isn't thrilled about the idea, but she's like almost kind of caving to her teacher's wishes too. So it's like she really doesn't want to do it, but her teacher is really into the idea, so it's like, yeah, it's weird. Also, I'm getting creeper vibes from her teacher now because he just pats her head and calls her good girl when she finally said she'd think about the idea. Also saying this would be a great opportunity for us, even though it's her art. She's the one doing, the actual work. Yeah, I'm getting too many creeper vibes. I don't think I could have my things on display the way I am now. This me couldn't do it. Her reasons sound like a weak excuse. I make my trademark frown, but she doesn't notice it. I don't get it. The teacher certainly thinks you could. I don't think he suggested otherwise. Sounds like he's calling in favors from his friends, too. I know. He's really done a lot for me. But this might be too much. Becoming someone who can do it might be pretty hard. Maybe I couldn't do it at all. He can't do it for me, and if I let him try, I'll just sink deeper and deeper. Rin stands in front of the large maple and turns away from me. I want to close the few feet of distance between us and... I don't know. My irritation is suddenly gone, and I start feeling sympathetic to her. I know exactly how you feel. Well, maybe I don't, but still. I think I haven't felt like I was actually in control of my life this whole year. I'm just helplessly going along with the flow. Like coming here to this school. I didn't really choose it myself. And I certainly didn't choose this time in my life to learn that I have this condition. I still can't casually say the word aloud. It's like... Yeah, it's exactly like being underwater. Like I can't even breathe. Rin turns to face me again, a sad expression on her face. Is that why you look so sad all the time? I don't want to look sad like you. Do I look do I look to you like you look to me? Jesus Christ. I don't look sad all the time. I just I don't know what I should be feeling. What kind of face should I be making? Me neither. Do I look sad now? Not really. You look like you always do, I think. But I'm sinking. I should try to float. Up, like a rubber duck. Quack, quack, all yellow and creepy. What the? I get like mood whiplash here. I have to think for a few seconds about which direction I should pursue in this conversation. And I realize that it doesn't matter. You think rubber ducks are creepy? You don't? I think they look very creepy. Everything that has eyes but isn't alive is very disturbing. Like rubber ducks and reflections in mirrors. She plops down on the forest bed, leaning on the maple she named the worry tree. After wondering what to do for a minute, I sit down too, 3 feet apart from her. The forest envelops us in its embrace, and its stillness falls upon the two of us. We sit there without speaking for a long while. I can literally feel the time passing. Patches of sunlight litter the small clearing in a pattern that echoes the maple canopies. One of them falls directly on me, warming me all the way to the bone. Wonder what I could do for myself, and maybe for Rin. For now, I just keep watching her from this distance. Sometimes she cranes her neck all the way back, so much that it almost looks painful, and stares up at the small patch of sky visible past the canopy of the worry tree. Oh my god, I'm already getting tongue-tied. Almost out of tea. Sometimes she just stares blankly ahead, as if seeing something just beyond her reach. She keeps whispering to herself, but so quietly that I can't hear her, even though I'm sitting right next to her. Thought you were 3 feet away! Granted, 3 feet isn't that much of a distance, but that's not right next to her. You're not rubbing shoulders, you're 3 feet away. That's like, I don't know, maybe a little more than an arm's distance. If someone whispers, you're not gonna hear it. God damn it, Hasao. I only see her lips moving, like she was in the middle of a distant dream. I realize that right now, I no longer feel any of the intense loneliness I feel at night, just before falling asleep. I might be more like Rin than I thought. I can either give up and stay submerged under the weight of all the crap in my life, or try to change myself for the better. Her decision is different, yet the same. And unlike her, I know for sure that I can't stay like this forever. I have to change. Are you kidding me right now? I want to be more like Rin, or I want to be more like Emmy. Fuck. So we're doom and gloom right now. We are doom and gloom, and we want to change. We either be like Rin and be what, introspective about everything, or be like Emmy, who is just, an unending ball of energy and smiles and lemons. I don't. I'm still in Act 2, mind you, so yeah. One moment, gotta do something. Sorry about that. Everyone came home to help put things away. Okay, so do I want to be like Rin, or do I want to be more like Emmy? I mean, we all kind of know what Emmy's like. We know everything that's going on with her, sadly enough. It's not exactly the, greatest. Emmy's deaf of Pollyanna. But Rin is the opposite of that, and it's also annoying. Yeah. What do I want to be? Oh, boy. I mean, I'd much rather not be kind of Rin. A little too introspective, a little too in her own head. Which, I mean, is more or less where I'm at some days. So I'd rather not be that. So, you know what, I'm gonna go with Emmy. 'Cause why not? If this ends up being a bad decision, I have a save file. Emmy's probably done it. She's so happy and energetic. A grutter girl without legs. If anyone has beaten a disability, it must be her. Makes me feel a little bit better too, and I lean back against the tree, breathing out deeply as if for the first time in a long time. You stay that way in the small clearing until the angle of the sun changes and the chilly shadows deepen. No longer warm where we sit, we leave the forest, returning along the same path we took coming in. Doesn't seem like Rin has come to a decision. Wonder if it was a bad idea for me to come along. It's alright. I don't mind. I'm sure the trees and rocks and dirt won't mind either. Did you mind? No, not at all. I think it helped me too. While we walk back towards the dormitories, the sky is changing to a deep ultramarine. The first summer stars twinkle softly from between spots in the canopy, barely visible like tiny fireflies. I become very self-conscious about Rin's presence. I haven't thought much about girls since things fell apart with Iwanako. This is kind of the same situation as then, but to be honest, I don't think it really counts for much. Not with Rin. And yet, it feels good walking next to her, even if it isn't anything more than this. At first, I think Rin agitated me quite a bit with her unpredictable behavior. But recently, I feel I haven't had to be on my toes as much. I've managed to let myself go a little. It makes me feel satisfied, even though ultimately, I think it's more thanks to Rin than myself. She seems to be disinterested in a huge number of things, but something in her makes me try harder than I normally would. It's not that I want to impress her. I think that truly impressing Rin would take near superhuman effort just because of how she is. Instead, it's because there's this relentless feeling inside of me that I shouldn't let Rin down. That's really weird. Wonder why I started thinking like that. I don't even know what sort of expectations she has about pretty much anything. So how could I let her down? Rin has this unassuming air around her, and she doesn't really talk about stuff very often. Even today's confession of her self-doubt caught me a little bit off guard. I feel like I want to talk more with her. The realization suddenly dawns on me that Rin is basically the only person I talk to nowadays, apart from whatever I have to endure from Shizune, Misha, or Kenji. I feel slightly depressed. In front of the dormitories, as if summoned by my dark thoughts, we run into Kenji himself. Oh, fuck. Say his name 3 times and he appears. It feels very odd seeing him outside, breathing fresh outdoor air. At least it's already dusk. I partially expect Kenji would disintegrate upon direct exposure to the sun. Okay, so he's a vampire now. Good job. Kenji himself seems very insecure as well, standing around looking like he's waiting for something, but doesn't know himself what it might be. Hey Kenji, what are you doing? Hello. Oh, for fuck's sakes. Just, I cannot go one day without dealing with fucking Kenji in this game, apparently. Seems like every time I boot up this stream to play this game, Kenji appears. I'm cursed. I'm cursed to have Harry Potter knockoff appear. 4chan incarnate. Who are you? It's me, Hisao. I'm not sure if you know Tezuka from Class 3-4. Okay, the music just a little too much for what's going on. From his face, I can see that not only does he not know, doesn't know who. Let me try again. From his face, I can see that not only he doesn't know Rin, he also can't see her from this short distance. Oh, sup, dudes? Kenji sticks his hand enthusiastically forward, almost straight into Rin's stomach. Rin looks at his outstretched hand in confusion until Kenji clears his throat and retracts the hand. There's something almost cool that he... There is something almost cool that he manages to do with social awkwardness. It's not like I'm the most suave man on the planet, but I don't think I'll ever be able to even approach Kenji's level. I think I respect Kenji a little bit more. No. So you're waiting for someone? He leans closer and lowers his voice to an agitated whisper. I see his facial muscles twitching. Come on, man. You know I can't talk about stuff here in public. They might be listening. I have to go pick I have to go pick up some stuff from somewhere. I don't want those snooping student council hags to get on my case. Also, I don't trust your friend. Nothing personal. Are you sure he's trustworthy? I briefly considered telling Kenji about Rin's gender, but as it might end up badly for one or both of them, I decide against it. Yeah, I'm sure. He turns from me to Rin, and I immediately get the feeling I have to prevent them from talking to each other with whatever means necessary. However, there is little I can do now, apart from physical violence. What, you don't want to just body check Kenji into tomorrow? Granted, you'll probably kill yourself in the process. But if it stops whatever's gonna happen, because oh my god. I do not need feminist conspiracies with introspective Rin talking to each other. I don't need that to happen. All we need is fucking Jigoro here, and we've got the trifecta. In that case, would you be interested in knowing what the worst threat to mankind since they invented vegetarianism? I want to punt you off a cliff. Sounds like a vacuum cleaner salesman. I thought it was Sunday. I see you're not in the know. Yeah, man. I'm talking about man-eating cows here. Very few people know what I know, so I'm not surprised. We can't talk here. But if you like a pamphlet, come to my room after curfew on Mondays or Wednesdays. Do you hold meetings or something? Why do you have business hours for your fucking dorm room? He suddenly reaches into his pocket and draws out a ballpoint pen and what looks like a convenience store receipt. Kenji furiously scribbles on the scrap of paper, then thrusts it towards Rin. Here's the password. Memorize it, and then eradicate any trace of this document. Eat it, burn it, dissolve it in acid, whatever. I take the receipt from Kenji, as Rin is unable to do so, and glance at it. It's indeed a receipt. Did I say recipe again? Fuck. Moving on. It's a receipt. It's a receipt. Receipt. Receipt is piece of paper with stuff on it that you've potentially bought. Proof of purchase. Recipe is instructions on how to make something. Why did I get them confused? Let's try this again. Let's keep going. It's indeed a receipt. Apparently for 2 rice balls and 5 boxes of matches. Hope he's not planning to burn anything down. On the other side is written just one word. Honey muffin. Okay, Kenji. Whatever you say, man. Okay. I show it to Rin too, but she shows no reaction. Thank you. Yo, Hisao, you still in that club? The Club of Dark Arts? Fine art. Anyway, yeah. Actually, just had a meeting today. Still got your wits about you? No shady mind tricks going on? Nothing personal bad, but I have to be on top of things. Can't get caught with my pants down. Speaking of which, you should really take showers a bit later. Gotta respect that personal space. Nothing personal. Kenji looks around as if he heard something, then straightens his jacket. Gotta put him in a straitjacket. Okay, I gotta scoot now before it gets too late. Later, dudes. Good luck. Kenji takes off rapidly towards the main gate. Rin looks after him, frowning. We watch after Kenji's diminishing figure in silence. What's wrong with him? Technically speaking, I think he's legally blind. Oh, I see. That's all she needs. Some cat. Oh. Wow, I think this might be one of the earliest times we get the letter. Good lord. I can immediately tell from the envelope that it's not about official matters of any sort. Someone actually wrote me an old-fashioned handwritten paper letter. Who bothers doing something like that in this day and age anyway? Yet, as unlikely as the prospect of receiving one sounds, there's definitely a letter laying on my desk. Or lying. Probably lying. Yeah, I think that's lying. Never mind. Apologies. I know laying and lying are two separate words. Okay, Nichols. Have fun getting your first poke. Fingers crossed, the worst that happens is just a bit of a sore arm. Classes for the day are over. Still feeling pretty full from the big lunch that I had unexpectedly eaten at the cafeteria, I returned to my dorm, planning on finishing my homework and probably skipping dinner. Or at least just eating light. I feel like I need to eat less than I used to. Maybe I don't use that much energy now that I don't do much beyond reading. However, the letter on my desk has naturally caught my interest. It's the first piece of mail I've received here at Yamaku, so it feels special even if it wasn't something as rare as a handwritten letter. What causes me even more trepidation is the name of the sender, written neatly on the back of the envelope. Iwanako. I have no idea why she would write to me. I haven't been in contact with anyone from my old school since I transferred, and Iwanako was the last person I'd expect to want to write me a letter. Last time I saw Iwanako was terribly awkward, embarrassingly so. She came to my hospital room, peeled me an apple out of courtesy, and then we practically sat in silence for half an hour. She said goodbye and didn't look me in the eye when she closed the door. Might have been a natural end to the series of visits that were probably pretty painful for both of us. Every time she visited me in the hospital, I wanted to talk to her, but something stopped me every time. Every time that I didn't speak made the next time even harder. Iwanako always had this aura of fragility around her, as if she'd shatter into pieces at the slightest disturbance. Initially, I think I might have been that delicacy that attracted me to her. But after what happened back then, it felt like she really had shattered. She looked so sad that I didn't want to say anything that might upset her, and I could never figure out the right words to say. I told her that it wasn't her fault. She nodded, and I really think she understood that if it hadn't been that, then sooner or later, something else would have made my heart give out. Yet she looked so hopelessly sad every time she opened that door and entered my room. So I never managed to say the things I wanted to say. In the end, that might have hurt her even more. Carefully, I open the envelope and draw out the folded letter from within. Yeah, we've seen this letter a million times before. Well, 4 times before. Dear Hisao, how are you? I hope you're well and happy at your new school. Everyone here misses you. Almost all of our second-year class got put together at Class 3-1 for the final year, so we're pretty comfortable right from the beginning of the year. I'm pretty sure you would have been assigned to this class as well. The mood among the third years seems to be very anxious about the final exams, even though they're so far away. The teachers are badgering us about it all the time. Even old Mr. Tachibana, who is, by the way, Our homeroom teacher this year. Would you believe it? I was sure he'd retire after our second year, but here he is, nagging everyone about studying for exams. I think things like that are the main reason why the mood among the third years is so nervous. I must admit that I'm somehow losing confidence in myself as well, even though I've always fared reasonably well in exams. It's so weird to think we're already seniors, isn't it? Time has really flown past. I wonder where it went. The new first year seems so young and somehow really innocent. I keep wondering if I was like them in my first year. I've been feeling nostalgic like this for the whole first trimester. There are other things I want to say. I'm writing to you because I felt that there are things I should have said after the incident back in winter. I really regret that I wasn't able to say them in person, and I have no excuse for it. The truth is, the times when I visited you in the hospital made me worried about you. I'm not talking about your health. You seem to become more distant and disheartened. It was natural after something like that happened, I'm sure, but somehow I got the feeling you'd given up on something back then. Happiness, maybe? I wanted to somehow express my feelings, but the right words didn't come to me. I couldn't really say anything to comfort you. I am really sorry for not being able to support you when it mattered the most, even though I like you so much. At least now, finally, I can be more honest. If I could go back to those quiet days in February and March, I'd tell you not to give up on yourself. That's what I would say. Maybe you wouldn't have drifted so far away if I had just said something. I hope you managed to get back on your own feet. Get on your feet on your own. Damn it. So close to going through that whole letter without screw-ups. So close. Like, right there. Now that the distance between us is also physical, it also feels more final somehow. I wonder if we'll meet again. Perhaps it's for the best if we don't? Still, if you'd like to correspond with me, by all means write me back. I'd very much like to hear about your new school and how you're doing. I wish you all the best. Sincerely, Iwanako. After finishing reading the letter, I fold it like it was and place it on my desk. I don't know what to think of this. I feel empty and confused. Why now? After all this time? Just yesterday I decided I can't let myself stay like this, that I try to get on top of my own life. Reading this letter just reminds me of what could have been. Of course I wish I didn't have to be here. I'd want to be in the same class with Iwanako again. Maybe we would talk every day now and go on dates. My life didn't go like that. I didn't really need to be reminded of this. Iwanako needed to write this letter for her own sake, and I'm glad for her that she could, but it would have been better if I hadn't read it. Of course she's right. I thought the same thing yesterday. I had fallen into a pit of depression, and now I have to try to climb out. Alright, so yeah, interesting take there. This time he's not, like, kind of cursing her for sending this letter. He's just like, I'm happy she did. This is something she needed to do for herself. I just wish I had never read it, because now it's kind of messing with me. And it's clear he still has, or at least still has a little bit of feelings for her. Even after all this time. Still thinking about a potential life he could have had if his heart didn't get in the way. I rip out a page from my notebook, and after a moment of thinking how to frame my words, write a short reply to Iwanako. I find it difficult to be really honest to her, but at least I try to appear somewhat convincing. I don't write her about Yamaku at all. I doubt she'll write me again, but I don't feel all that sad about it. I fold my own letter to her, and as I have no envelope, I set it next to Iwanako's. I'll mail it to her later. Wow. This is the first time he's actually been able to put a letter together. He tried in Hanako's route, but could not get the words. As much as he tried, he just couldn't write one. This one, he was able to immediately write something. Holy hell. Though that makes sense. He's not really connected with Rin like he was any of the other girls in their routes. He didn't have some kind of emotional attachment to them just yet. I mean, you know what I mean. In the other routes, he had some kind. He knew he kind of liked them, liked them. So his feelings were a little more focused on them. Then when the letter shows up, he kind of gets conflicted and really doesn't know what to think. With Rin, it's just kind of she's interesting. I don't want to disappoint her, even though she, confused the fuck out of me all the time. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have any kind of romantic inclinations with Rin right now, so I think that's why he's able to write this letter so quickly. Rin's just this interesting friend. Iwanako is his past love, so... And with Rin not taking Iwanako's place, he's able to do this. That's at least what I'm getting from it. I may not be the most concise with what I want to say, but I think you guys get the picture of what I'm trying to say. Still, wow, he actually managed to churn out a letter pretty damn fast. Then I lie back on my bed, looking at the monotone gray ceiling. A bird sings outside of my window, and a sudden gust of wind flutters my curtains. Summer afternoon feels still, as if time had stopped for a brief moment. I think about all the things I've lost and will never regain. Jesus, well, that was depressing. Thus the languid days of mid-June pass by. I mailed my letter to Iwanako and received no reply. Having decided to ditch the old me, I started observing my fellow students even closer than I did before, hoping to understand how other people cope with their own issues. I start seeing things I didn't before, and it makes me wonder if I've been wrong twice. Superficially, everyone is abnormal, yet so strikingly normal that it shocked me at first. I admire the way my new schoolmates turned my prejudices around just like that, simply by being themselves. Now that I've gotten used to it, I begin noticing other kinds of tones in the people surrounding me every day. There's this soft, numb sadness all around me. I can see the effort everyone has to make just to get through the day, and how it weighs on their shoulders like it weighs on mine. Even the brightest smile is just slightly subdued, every outburst of annoyance just slightly dampened. It's subtle, but it's definitely there. Try to think what it means, what I can learn from others. I wonder if deep down, everyone is as lost as I am. Is there even one person in here who has truly found peace? I start to feel doubtful about myself once again. I can't decide whether these people are happy, unhappy, or if I've just learned to cope and now live in an unfeeling limbo like I did all spring. I escape from these feelings into the towering piles of books I carry from my room to Yuko's sanctuary. After realizing this will just shut me down even more, I start going to the art club's room more often, usually whenever I can. Rin, too, seems to spend more time in there than in her own classroom. I've often seen her totter towards the door at the very end of our corridor. That wooden door and the room behind it, smelling of paint and paper, seem to mean more to her than the rest of the world combined. She says she has special permission to use the room, which I don't doubt at all. I don't think Nomiya would deny Rin anything. He seems to dote on her like an uncle upon a favorite niece. Still don't like Nomiya. Get too many creeper vibes from him. The object of his affection, however, has no favorites. She says she appreciates the teacher a lot for going the extra mile for her sake, but even when she says that, her expression is the same as always. It's as if she was talking about a particularly unremarkable rock that she saw the other day. I can't really figure out their relationship. Rin doesn't seem to let anyone close. I don't think even Emmy could say she's crossed the gap that seems to separate Rin from the rest of the world. I don't understand it. She seems so indifferent, yet so passionate at the same time. Somewhere, the school bells ring the last call of the day. I realize I've been zoning out for who knows how long. Dazed, I sit up straighter, trying to look as inconspicuous as possible. The pungent smells of linseed oil and turpentine mix in my nostrils as I draw a deep breath. I feel drowsy and lightheaded. Yeah, buddy, you're getting, little contact high here from all the paints. It's already this late, and a few club members left early, so it's just me, Rin, the teacher, and two other girls who are also about to leave. Rin is sitting to my right, slowly working on a painting while I'm idling the time away. I don't think she realizes I've been watching her this whole time. With a nimble move of her delicate ankle, she dips the brush into crimson paint and presses it lightly onto the canvas. A stain spreads around it, as if the brush was bleeding. Her progress is slowed down to a crawl. By now, I've learned that this is dangerous for her technique, as the paint must not be allowed to dry before she's finished. It occurs to me that I'm literally watching paint dry. And yet somehow, I'm not feeling bored, despite spacing out just now. Most of the time, the art club is very relaxed and freeform. Apart from times when Nomiya gets really excited about some technique or style he wants to teach us about, everyone's free to pursue their own interests. Lacking one, I keep floating around without direction. I try this and that, but nothing really leaves me with a deeper impression. Not to mention that I don't seem to have a special knack for anything. You're just like jack of all trades, master of none, that kind of thing. Well, I did get praise for my attempt at watercolors, and I felt pretty good about that myself, but that's it. I suppose it's to be expected. I joined the art club mostly on a whim, after all. I'm thinking that maybe I should quit the club if it's going to be this pointless. But there's nothing really wrong with pointlessness, and I can't exactly say I'm unhappy. Unsatisfied, maybe, but I've only got myself to blame for that. As the pair of girls exit the club room with a cheerful bye-bye, Nomiya stands up from his desk. His chair scoots back with a loud screech that breaks the harmony of this quiet afternoon. He taps a pile of papers in his hands twice against the tabletop in order to straighten them, then stretches his back. Everything's cricket and cracking. Especially the neck, and the elbows, and the knees. If I have a joint, it's cracking. I have a faculty meeting to attend, so I can't stay. I'll have to do some paperwork later, so if you want to stay, we can talk then. Sorry about this. There are 2 people here, but he's really talking to only one of us. Nomiya spends extra hours of his time mentoring Rin after official club hours are over, and I'll bet he'd like to discuss his plan of getting Rin's art into a gallery a little more. It's alright. I think I'll probably be here, but it's not a big deal if I'm not. I don't really have much going now. Rin answers without moving her eyes from her work in progress. The tone in her voice is neither the polite kind expected when talking to a teacher, nor her usual monotone. So I won't need to send a search party if you aren't here? Yes. No thanks. I don't like to party. We can talk later. Good girl. Ugh. 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 Saying that just skeeves me out. Ugh. He's talking to her like a fucking dog. Ugh. Smiling, the teacher picks up the rest of his papers and makes his way to the door. I glance at the clock above it, then at my watch to double check. They're 3 minutes apart, but nevertheless the club meeting's time is over now. Rin seems intent on staying here to work on her piece while waiting for the teacher. I can't quite imagine what their one-on-one time would be like. Will they actually discuss anything? Rin is always so subdued in what she says, and when she does say something, it's difficult to understand what she's talking about. Maybe Nomiya just talks endlessly like he does at club meetings, letting Rin absorb what she will from his infinite well of art knowledge, like a sunflower turning to face the glowing sun. Do you mind if I stay? I thought I might give watercolors another try. I blurt out the excuse, sort of accidentally, embarrassing myself. Rin doesn't take her eyes off her painting. Okay. I shift around in my chair, then get to fetching a cup of water, brushes, colors, and some paper. The sound of my footsteps invades the still afternoon air. Before starting, I try to recall what the teacher told us, an important philosophy of the medium. Working with watercolors means more working with water than working with color. Ugh. I try to keep that in mind and dip my tiny sable brush into the water cup. I'm mixing yellow and blue, trying to capture the sunlit treetops outside the window. The sun is low, so the yellows are more pronounced and everything looks darker. Still can't quite connect what I see with what my hand does with the paints, but it's a passable attempt for my level. After a while, I start losing my focus and move the paper aside, deciding to watch Rin work for a while instead. That little while stretches first into a long while, then into a really long while. Rin paints, her entire being fully concentrated on the brush between her slender toes, and the painting coming to life, one stroke at a time. She seems determined, and yet at the same time relaxed, effortlessly moving the brush around, never hesitating. Colors meet and part, mix and cover each other on the canvas, bending to her quiet will. I don't know anything about composition, structure, or any of that stuff, but I really like Rin's paintings. I like how she looks when she paints. As usual, the silence between us compels me to speak rather than merely wait for her to open up. She might end up saying nothing at all. Do you mind if we talk? I don't mind. I kind of wanted to ask you more about why you get so weird about this thing with this thing the teacher wants to arrange for you. Rin picks up a tube of paint and squeezes it between her toes on a palette almost as easily as someone with opposable thumbs would. Taking up a brush again, she replies, "A lot of things, and some not things, unthings. I don't think that's a word. Do you want to talk about it?" I try to reach out to her clumsily, ignoring the embarrassing feeling of awkwardness. Rin keeps her focus on the painting, spreading more and more paint on the canvas, her lips forming a perfectly straight line as she concentrates on the job. Not really. Talking is hard. I mean, it's not hard. I'm talking even now. But saying the right things is really hard for me. No matter what, I just can't say the things I want. That sounds weird. It's true. I say all kinds of things that I don't really mean all the time. And sometimes I forget words and then use the wrong words. I even come up with new words for things that already have some. That's the worst thing. I get really nervous and everything comes out a mess, and I even don't really understand what I want to say. I think there's something wrong with me that makes it like this. Remember when I said I can only think of 4 things at the same time? I nod wordlessly. It's not really 4. I mean, it is 4, but everything else is also kind of in the background. Like being at an amusement park and a beehive at the same time. But that's not the point. I used to do better. Like 6 or 7 things. I think so, at least. I feel like I'm becoming dumber. I think everyone has times when they feel like they can't say the right things. But it's there all the time. Stronger and deeper. Yeah, deeper is a good word. I like that word. Deeper. It's that feeling of being underwater. Maybe it's just art. The more I paint, the more words I forget. Maybe at some point, I'll forget how to speak completely. It feels like I'm slowly forgetting everything. Do you remember what you thought about 3 or 4 years ago? I don't. A long pause ensues, during which time seems to bend around itself, almost tying itself into a knot. I don't think I've ever heard Rin talk this earnestly and for so long about anything before. It's like I'm fading away from the world. Rin's foot has stopped its work on the canvas, and she's staring at her painting, unmoving, as if gazing at some faraway horizon. Sunlight briefly glints in the corner of her onyx eyes. Something floats up into the top layer of Rin's being, and she lets out a long breath. Then she blinks, and it's gone. Paintings stay behind. When I look at my old things, I remember what I was thinking back when I made them. They make me feel like I can be with all the past me's when I was a different me. I guess they are the proof of my existence. She uses the exact same words Nomiya used when he spoke to us of the nature of art. I didn't think Rin was paying attention back then. I wonder if she was listening, or whether she had heard the same passionate speech from Nomiya before. Either way, I feel overwhelmed. Boy, are you complicated. I would have taken up writing a diary. Her eyes quickly flicker to my direction, and then back to the painting, but she doesn't pick up the brush anymore. That's a great idea. Why didn't I ever think of that? Are you being sarcastic? What's sarcasm? I don't call her on the joke, if it is one. Right at that moment, Nomiya returns from his meeting. He waves to us a very melodramatic hello, mildly surprised to see me here along with his pet student. Walking with a boisterous gait to his desk, he drops his papers upon it. He picks up a handkerchief and cleans his glasses with incredibly meticulous care before walking over to us. Before he is even within earshot of us, Rin says something to me in a quick, quiet voice. Change is the scariest thing in the world to me. And I seriously don't know if I want to change into a person who could do the thing the teacher wants me to do. I don't know if I could even if I wanted to. Hello again! Hello. What's going on? He smiles a bit sheepishly, looking at both of us with uninhibited interest. Nothing. We were just talking about that thing with your acquaintance in the gallery. For Rin's works. Sort of. Oh, any decisions? I look at Rin, who's trying to arrange the bothered expression on her face into something else. Anyway, I don't think I have much else to say other than that you should go for it. Oh, good fucking Christ. Of course, there's another decision. So, we say she should go for it because it would be exciting, we think she'd be a big hit, or you should aim high. Oh my god. There is so much going on. Oh boy. Also, wow, every other route where there's decisions, it's choose this one or this one. Now here's 3 fucking choices. Ugh. Last one seems the most intrinsically valuable. You should aim high. Like, Rin doesn't want excitement or attention. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. Yeah, she really doesn't. That's the feeling I'm getting too. This is something she really doesn't want to do personally. But it's like she just can't say no, because I guess she doesn't want to disappoint Nomiya. Just like how we don't want to disappoint Rin and let her down? You should aim high. It's like, yeah, aim high. Yeah, there's that classic saying. Aim high, even if you miss, still land among the stars. I think you'd be a big hit is... I feel like that's like supporting her in a way, too. In a good way, but there's also a lot of expectation in that. Just me saying, yeah, you'd be a big hit, even though I know fuck all about art. And because it would be exciting, that's just a bit much. Like, do it for the sake of doing it. I did save. I did, in fact, save, so I could always come back to it. If I feel like it was a bad choice. I've got a sinking suspicion I will not end up getting a good ending for Rin. It's gonna break my streak. 'Cause I am going in completely blind. To be fair, I don't think she has a good one. Well, what the game considers a good ending that gets me the art evolution in the end credits. That's the sign of good ending. God, she might also have a neutral ending. She could have 3 goddamn endings, and I wouldn't know. Oh, she does have 3 endings. Oh, fuck. Great! Great, so she's got good, bad, and neutral. Wonderful. So now, instead of a 50-50 chance of getting her good ending, I now have a 33% chance. Oh, boy. No, that's fine. A number of endings is fine. That's okay. Telling me what those endings are and how to get them, that would be spoilers. I'm definitely scratching out because it would be exciting. I'm definitely not going to do that one. That's wrong. I'm torn between big hit and aim high, though I am kind of leaning more toward you should aim high. Because I think you'd be a big hit is kind of we're putting a lot of expectations on Rin. Just by saying that. And if we were to say that, I'm sure Nomiya would say it, and that would just drive Rin to want to, actually try and do it, and it probably wouldn't go well. She doesn't want to disappoint, I'm assuming. Doesn't want to let her teacher down. She is thankful for everything he is doing for her. Yeah, we're gonna go with she should aim high. If I just locked myself onto a bad or neutral end, oh well. I really think you should aim higher. You should take the chance. Even if you crash and burn, at least you tried. It'd be worth it just for that. Nomiya sucks in his breath and then lets it out after a pause, as if he wanted to add something, but he manages to restrain himself. Rin finally replies to me. You don't think I'm good enough like this? No, I think you're selling yourself short if you think like that. It's cowardly. Jesus. I almost feel like that was a bad choice, but I'm gonna stick with it for now. Rin looks absent-mindedly at me, not saying anything. I can't even tell if my words had any effect on her. She looks like she's giving us the stink eye. I just don't get it. Anyone else would be jumping up and down in excitement. What's the point of doing your best, being at this art club, if you don't do anything with your talent? I'm telling you, you're gonna be angry with you if you give this up. My voice raises higher. I don't know what makes me say this. It's like I've been taken over by some force out of my control. I really do feel angry. Images of a letter written on cute stationery flash in my mind. Images of the masked faces of my parents, my doctors, images of the time I've wasted. They mix into my feelings about Rin like a torrent of molten iron. I want to continue, but Rin suddenly stands up. Fine. I'm going. She trots out of the room without anyone saying anything. I stare after her, still seething, though with a voice of rationality in the back of my head, wondering if I made her angry as well. The teacher lets out an embarrassed but extraordinarily loud laugh. You care a lot about her, don't you? Nomiya looks at me over his circular pink glasses, smiling sympathetically. You've made friends with her then, Nakai? Well, something like that, I guess. Depends on how you look at it. To be honest, I'm not really sure. Heading back to work? Okay, Jen. Hope you have a good day at work. Thanks for stopping by. And thank you for showing me I need to fix follow age. It's more like me and Rin just tend to hang around each other regularly, talking or not about something that more often resembles some twisted mockery of philosophy, rather than normal, everyday things that friends chat about. Well, that's good, isn't it? You're a new student, and we should be promoting integration into the student body and such. I can't remember all the buzzwords they spew at faculty and Yamaku Foundation meetings, but that's how it is. Tezuka isn't the most social person around these parts either. Yeah, that's definitely true. So, she's talked about my suggestion to you? Oh, no, not really. I think it's been more me pressing her to decide something. Maybe I shouldn't have. Oh, I'm sure it's fine. I'm too soft with her, even when I shouldn't. I don't really know how to handle Tezuka. She's so independent and willful. I wonder if this is what it's like. I wonder if this is what every old geezer of an art teacher who got his hands on a young, fiery prodigy felt like. He chuckles ironically to himself a little bit, turning to face Rin's latest work, which he left drying on the easel. She departed so abruptly that I wonder if she considers it finally finished. So, let's see the painting then. He leans in closer, peering at the canvas. It draws you in, doesn't it? Nomiya stands back straight, his face a dreamy, nostalgic visage. I don't answer him, as he seems to be taking my agreement as a given. I sometimes stay here after hours just to look at Tezuka's paintings. She's really just prodigious. And at such a young age. I get shivers just thinking of what she could become with a few more years of refinement. You asked what makes an artist, remember? This is it. They take a piece of the world and reshape it in their own image. Metaphorically, of course. Looking at her makes you wonder what the world looks like through her eyes. It's a wonderful thing, to be young and full of passion. The most extraordinary time of your life. You would do well to remember that, Nakai. Yes, sir. It's so silly. People always ask artists, where do you get your ideas? As if ideas were something sold in the market for pocket change. You can't explain inspiration. But people like Tezuka, it's like breathing. It's an instinct. I've met maybe one or two with the same kind of raw potential. But no amount of potential will amount to anything if one doesn't work to realize it. It's practice, technique, skill. Draw for an hour every day for a few years, and even the most hopeless case becomes a passable artist. Tezuka's not brilliant because she was born with a natural talent for this kind of thing. She's brilliant because she works harder than anyone, ever since she learned to hold a pen, most likely. And all with her feet, no less. Absolutely phenomenal. Silence finally lands in the club room as Nomiya lets himself get drawn back into Rin's painting. gently murmuring acceptance toward the still wet canvas. What kind of things do you paint yourself? As if waking from a reverie, he looks at me, surprised at my talking to him. Oh, I don't. Not anymore. I became an art teacher only after my career in that field came to an end. Now I just pass on knowledge to the next generation. The way Nomiya answers is curious, both giving and withholding information. I feel like asking more, but he cuts in before I get the chance. Now you should run along, my boy. It's almost dinner time, isn't it? Yes, sir. Have a good evening. You too. I quickly collect my stuff and step out into the deserted hallway, leaving the teacher alone with his musings. Weekend will be here soon. It's amazing how fast time flies here. I promised Emmy I'd join her for the celebration of her triumph at the track meet last week. That should be plenty of fun. Alright. I'm gonna make a new save state for that one, just to be safe. Okay. So that's where I'm gonna call the stream for today. So I think we got through a fair bit. I'll have to work on my Nightbot follow H command, because something's going wrong with it. In fact, I'll try to just do that right now. See what's going on with the code. Shouldn't be anything big. Commands, custom, follow age. Okay, and I'll look up the default code for it. Follow age command. I'll just copy the whole original, so it'll be very, very specific. Okay, yep, that's edit. Where are we here? Nope, hold on. That's follow since. Okay. Hopefully that worked. I think it did, though. I mean, it won't work for me, because I don't follow myself. And I spelled it wrong. Jeez, I'm terrible. Try that again. I am not following myself, because I cannot follow myself. But that may have fixed it. I'll work around with it a little, so for now it will display, you know, year, month, day, which is a bit much. Yeah, well, year, month, day, week, hour, minute, second. So it'll be incredibly specific. But I'll leave it for that for now. Barely anyone uses it anyway. Oh well. Alright. So at least that's dealt with. Anyway, again, I'm gonna call a stream here today. Tomorrow we continue on with Katawa Shoujo at the same time, 10 o'clock. So thanks everyone for watching, commenting, lurking, all that fun stuff. Very much appreciate it. I hope everyone has a good rest of their Thursday. I'll see you next time.